Welcome back, friends, and I have just laid out 10 random cards and made a video before this video. This video is following up on the Noctulious meditations for the Noctulious path of the Tree of Weird. So, me and my mentor have been just absolutely attacking this Tree of Weird, and we have been pushing ourselves really hard, which is why I think I keep getting sick. But I laugh because it's like, to me, it's so worth it. I just I can't put it into words. The little bit of suffering that we suffer for magic, whether it's pricking your finger or spending money on books or having to go find a very rare item to do a ritual, or just putting time and love and energy into a ritual. That's what makes it really truly magical. So in position 1 we have the Hangman. Position 2 we have the 6 of Wands. Position 3, 5 of Pentacles. King of Cups, 10 of Swords, 9 of Wands, King of Swords, Knight of Wands, this card, 9 of Swords, which shows a worried sleeper, my sleep and dreams and nightmares, etc. And then we have the Knight of Swords. A lot of knights and kings in here. This card is a card, and since this is in the 10th position, this is typically what I focus on. This has definitely been me, the Hangman, current position, and I'm slowly snapping out of it. I don't know what's going on. I think it has to do with the Noctulious path meditations. So this card is a card of a dude who likes to pick fights. He's a knight / soldier warrior type person. He, for no reason at all, just sometimes likes to go out and start his own little wars. And I like this card because we can see here in the deck a lot of influence cards in this reading. But I love the fact that we have 2 kings and 2 knights, because to me that represents characters or spiritual forces that are there and in abundance. Now, only concern I have is of this card here, obviously. So I'm going to do a quick read up on that one because of the position that it's in. But I understand this card, and so if the reading before us is simply a message from Noctulious about the path, and for me it's very personal, so on a personal level what I'm getting from this reading is basically, you don't know what to do, but you have the ability to rally people to do what you need to do when you need to do it. You are allowing money to be a subconscious influence and worrying about a home. It's fucking my brain up. So when I say you, I'm talking about me. Knight of Cups, it's a benign character. I have to look him up later. The 10 of Swords. I think what is happening in this card is we see the death of a person, a total destruction, and that makes a lot of sense because I just got done telling someone that they need to be understanding of my situation, because what's going to happen when I complete the Tree of Weird, and I hope it's the same, and I have a feeling it will be a similar experience for me and Carrie, which is when you're done, you're going to be a different person. There's going to be something of a shell left behind, and this destruction, I feel, is the destruction of the personality, character, ego. the person who used to go to the gym every single day now works out maybe 2 or 3 times a week. The person who used to only eat a certain way now eats whatever he wants. I've changed so many things, but I'm still in the process of changing and trying to become something that's different and a little more powerful and also a little more edgy. So I guess the real problem is how do you go from being Mr. Nice Guy, a person with compassion who would let just about anyone off the hook if they sincerely were sorry, to saying, fuck you, you did what you did and you will be held accountable to the nth letter of the word. And that's exactly why I need these dark forces to be awakened, because there's a pussy inside of me that needs to be depussified. The pussy needs to have his ass whipped. That's the way I would put it. And you get a little comfortable in life, you start fucking slacking, all right? You start eating out too much, you start fucking off too much, drinking a little too much, eating out at restaurants too much, enjoying life a little too much, which I think is totally necessary. But then when you start neglecting your goals and what you set out to do, the end result is going to be that you're going to be pissed at yourself because you have all these little distractions. Stop worrying about money. Money is done. We're good. In all my readings before in regards to money, both of us will be fine, more than fine, financially once we complete the tree, and always have been and never will have that issue in life. It will never, from this point on, be to a point that we would have to ask someone to borrow money or ever have to depend on someone 100%. There will always be an abundance if you want it. So one of the things that comes to mind when sometimes you have too much is you have so much that you just don't even care. I've noticed people that have too much, like for example, I'll just use myself because I can talk about myself. I can't talk about others because I generalize. So I have around 15 electric guitars and I love them. It's overkill. It's insane. I can barely play half of them. I mean, you can only play one at a time, you know, but I love them, and I will, as long as I can, I will have my guitars and my amps in my music room, and I love it. There's a part of me that feels guilty for having a lot of things that I guess other people may not have, and I don't understand why that little Christian part of me isn't dead yet, because the reality is if you want something bad enough and you're willing to make sacrifices for it, you can get it. Most anything you can get. If you have a will and you are willing to make those sacrifices, you will essentially get what you want, if you're willing to pay the price. Let's take yourself a character that most people would hate with passion, and I certainly do too, which is the rapist character. A human being that would sexually assault another human for their own sexual needs, that is a very primal and animalistic thing to do. To just give in to the passion and desire in you and just fucking attack someone with your dick. I don't get it. I mean, I certainly understand to a degree how a man can have a rape-like sex drive, But for me, it would not be something in any circumstance that would give me any pleasure if they weren't into it. So a rapist doesn't just take something from someone's body, they actually take that person's soul and life with them. And I think on a vampiric level, one of the things that happens with a rape, and it's the reason why rape victims or people who have been severely abused seem and feel so empty a lot of times, is because unbeknownst to the abuser, most abusers, especially the ones that like to abuse children, are vampires, are psychic vampires to the max. So while they're sexually abusing these children, they are getting a fucking rush of energy. Everyone says that there are these cults of people that kill children and drink their blood. You don't need to drink children's blood to get high off of their energy. There are other ways around that, and these sick fucks figured that out. And if there's anything going on as far as that goes, yeah, a sexual vampire that rapes children will actually not just take that child's virginity or that woman's dignity, but they will actually take their soul and will use it in their energy system basically from that point on, until they somehow can detach and regain their energy. So if you have been a victim of child abuse, rape, physical abuse, being beat, being hit, slapped, yelled at, screamed at, called fucking names, all of the above, if you have had that kind of trauma, it is more than likely the reason why you have incredible gifts. And if your loved one is at peace with their abuse and glad they have the gift, that's great. But for most of us, I think we would choose to rather have not been abused or molested. Thank God I never really was. I would say I had some borderline incidents, but I never ever have experienced what other children have. I can only imagine, and every case is different, but the rapist who rapes and enjoys the rape and has no empathy for ruining that person's whole life and the lives of the people around them, that's someone that needs to die. You have to kill this vampire. You cannot allow anyone to get away with that. If you know that a stranger has touched your daughter's genitals, you are obligated to get back. And maybe it's from a legal point of view, maybe it's from getting physical revenge, but you are obligated. So, back to the devil and Noctulious. I'm actually in a pretty fair trance right now, so I feel like I'm talking really slow and I'm being really boring, but I have a heavy influence on me right now. It's trying to take over my voice. It's weird. This is what I feel has been going on inside of me. This card reminds me of me a lot. This is how I feel inside. There is a darkness. There is a feeling of hopelessness. There is a feeling of not wanting to go on, not even wanting to continue, not even with all the rewards and pleasures of heaven and hell combined type of energy. I'm not going to move. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it. I'm not going. Am I going to work today? Fuck no. I'm glued to this chair. Why? I don't know, but I also don't give a fuck. That is a fucking strange feeling to have coming from an individual that used to go to a gym and train for 2.5 hours every day. That had that kind of energy and spirit. The dark night of the soul, to me, is a very important subject because each one of us goes through these little phases where we have to get over ourselves and get over something for us to continue to move on. And what this is not really feeling sorry for the self, but pulling yourself out of life because you feel that you failed yourself. In some way, you failed yourself. So you figure, well, I didn't get to do exactly what I wanted to do. And the fucking, you know what? It's too late now. So fuck it. I just don't care. I'm going to let everything go and I'll throw caution to the wind. That's the attitude of this card that I feel. And I feel that way. I get to a point where there are times, and I don't even know if it's just from magical influence or just from life, there are just times when it's not like you want to die, but it's like you don't want to exist. And one of the problems occultists have is we know that we're immortal and we know we're always going to exist, and that's a fucking hard, tough thought to wrap your brain around. And we have to find peace somehow. That's why having an animal, I was told a long time ago that if I had pets, that I would become more psychic. And now here I am. Last couple of months I've been working with these snakes, and I swear to God, it's opening up my third eye like I've never had it open, just from bonding with these snakes. I don't know what it is. Maybe they have an ability to unlock psychic abilities in humans if they come in close contact with you. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm observing. So anyway, friends, this reading was really more for me and Carrie combined, but so I hope she relates to this, but just so I can get a fresh point of view of what I experienced with Noctulious. He's showing me a lot of my weaknesses and things that need to change, and one of the things that needs to change is I need to bring the battle to them. I need to go out and forge my own. I need to be the one that fires the first shot, takes the initiative, even if it's in a aggressive way. It's something that I have to learn to start doing. And it starts by trying to kill Mr. Nice Guy, basically. You know, I've always hated mean and rude people because they cause so much grief. Just someone that walks around with a bipolar attitude, treating people like shit. We're so connected like never before due to the internet, and yet at the same time, we have never been so disconnected from one another. It's a strange sort of situation we find ourselves in. It's almost as if the people that live in the same house might as well be living on different planets because each one of them is totally fucking absorbed in their own little self-created internet universe, whether it's on the fucking phone or social media. And, you know, to a degree, I think we're all guilty of it. We love the internet. I fucking love the internet. I love it, okay? It's the best thing that's probably ever happened to humanity in the last 100 years. So, thank you, internet. Anyway, it's very hard to explain the gist of it, but one of the things that I really feel is that these characters are of significance. The ego has to die. You have to stop sitting around waiting for something to happen and not giving a fuck. You need inspiration, so find it. There will be presences and characters around that have power and are in positions of power to move forces properly. this fear and nightmare influence will go away once you start attacking the actual spirit who's causing these dreams. And I'm telling this to myself now. But you will arrive back where you were. So this card's kind of a bully card. It's kind of a, what do you want, motherfucker? Oh, you want to fight? Let's fight. That's kind of the attitude. It's kind of looking for an excuse for a fight. Kind of like if you just smarted off to someone because you were in a bad mood and then they decided, fuck it, we're going to fight. It's like a video I saw of these two, dare call them men. It looked like two fucking potbelly pigs having a fist fight at the pool. It was the most fucking pitiful fight I've ever seen. They were winded. They barely could fucking land a shot. They did more damage to themselves trying to swing at each other and falling down and shit. This is what we become. A bunch of fucking weaklings. This is not America, friends. Ugh. God, I really hope Europe, Canada, and all these other countries are doing well, because right now is a total fucking mind-blowing disaster fuck. And that's just putting it in layman's terms. Woo! Some fucked up shit going on. So anyway, I digress. I am under heavy influence of trance, and my voice keeps acting really weird. So I'm just going to end the video now and say dark blessings, and I'm going to do another video where I look up the meanings and the meanings and the positions so that it's a little more clear. So I'm going to let this shit marinate, and then we're going to get back to it. Can't wait for the next path. Dark blessings.